Supercoach 360.
Mission Supercoach 360. Animation.
Supercoach 360 podcast.
For now, what we're going to do actually is we are going to talk antipods with Guy. So he's been busy and away for a few weeks, but he has been hard at work scouring, looking at ownership, and he's looked at some players that I believe are all below 2% ownership.
Correct.
And he's done an article up on Supercoach 360, so he's just going to give us a couple of the antipods that he's got on that list. If you want to check them all out, make sure you head over to supercoach360.com.
Okay, so one in a crowd. Going against the grain and antipodding, I think, has been the ever-growing trend in Supercoach lately. My first one on the list, so all these players I looked at are under 2%. I think when most are going, those highly owned players, I think at the start, maybe going one or two pods could help you. So the first one, I'll get you a couple of your opinions. CHN at 1.2%. He's an offload machine. A lot of these have a lot of variables why they're owned by that low, but they could be worth a shot. CHN I've loved in the past. Bergs, I know, has been a owner quite heavily. He's averaging 67 points a game, but coming off the bench for the last two games of the season, dropped into a 61 average. So he's priced just below. He only played 23 and 42 in those games coming off the bench. So that dropped his average. I think he put up the 124, I think it was, against the Sharks without a try. That was his main massive game. Yeah. That everyone kind of saw his high ceiling that he can produce. The Raiders start the month with Sharks, Cowboys, Titans and Sea Eagles. I actually think there's been talks he could even go to the middle. I actually think middle or on the edge doesn't really matter. I just want him starting and getting the most minutes. He can offload anywhere in the field. He'll go looking for the ball. I'm confident at that. And I just think he's a serious option at that 1.2% as a second row option. What do you boys think?
It's too unreliable for me.
There's a lot of mouths at Canberra now, isn't there, to feed? They've picked up Adam Elliott. Tarpany seems to be...
He's going good.
Off trial form anyway. He deserves good minutes.
He's looking very good.
Look, if he definitely starts and definitely gets 65 plus, he is a good option. He runs a great line. I'd expect Fogarty to use that if he's on that side with him. But he's probably a wait, watch and see for me. But at less than 2% ownership, that's a great pod. Great pod, especially with a good draw.
34k, so not too highly priced either. He was the first one. Next one on the list is Mitch Barnett, 1.3%, also around that 560 mark, so around the mid 500s. He never leaves anything out there. Also, he played in all of Newcastle's games last season except the last round, which I thought's a massive positive for him because he normally gets suspended and injured quite a bit. So that was quite a positive. He averaged 64 across the season, but he had a 6-game run in the middle. I think it was between rounds 9 and 14, where he didn't play more than 59 minutes. So he kind of dropped his overall average. I think he averaged over 68, which included 2 tons, and the lowest score was being a 50 in the if you take out those 5 games in the middle. So I think 1.3%. In that second row, I also think it's a great shout as a pod. Sorry, what do you boys think about Mitch Barnett?
Current owner, he's in my side at the moment. I like Mitch, I really do, but it does come down to if he gets the edge. Like I would have to trade him out if he played middle. I know there's no Watto there now, and I'm guessing that if anyone's going to get subbed a bit earlier, it'll be Randall, who might need a bit of a breather after a big opening stanza. Whereas I think Barnett can punch out 80 in the middle if needed. If not, Tyson Frizzell could easily get pushed into the middle there, and maybe Mitch Barnett takes up that edge, which I think would be better for Mitch's game anyway.
Do you prefer him on the middle or the edge?
I prefer him on an edge. Scores more points on an edge.
Yeah, for me, I don't mind either way. It's the same thing with CHN, just about the minutes. As long as he's getting those minutes in those games in the middle where his average dropped, you saw his minutes come down as well. So,
What about you and Mitch?
Yeah, I don't mind it at all because I think Saifidi boys are both going to miss the start of the season. I don't know how long. But yeah, that means there's plenty of minutes opened up. I think Kurt Mann's going to get the 13, unfortunately.
Is that what Mitch Barnett opening prop
Yeah,
with David Clemmer?
I think so.
Really? Could be juicy.
all right. Next one up on the list is Jack DeBellin at 1.8%, 481k. So he's actually below the 500 mark. He's a workhorse. I think he's priced at his floor. That's what appeals me most about him. He's coming off a year where he came back playing 25 and 37 minutes upon return to footy in his first 2 games. He ended up playing the 11 games with an average of 55 across 62 minutes. So his PPM was a little bit down. I'd prefer to see him, at least at that one.
He was out of the game for, 2 and a bit years. It's a completely different game to the last time he played. And he come in halfway through a season and he just got thrown in the deep end and was expected to catch up. It's going to take him a while to get there. I like him for the start of this year.
Well, the good thing about a Jack DeBellin is it's not about an attacking stat for someone in his position. It's more about like offloads and shit. Yeah, but that's the sort of thing he's got to do in the middle anyway for his team to get on a bit of a wriggle on. Like that's what people going about, the draw, the high ceiling club. You got to remember that some of the shitter clubs forwards they're the ones you want. Like, especially for these teams that are constantly taking possession off these lesser clubs. Then their forwards are doing their job, and they're the ones that are going to get the points and make the money in the front row and back row for you if you pick the right guys.
I think just he's also fixture proof. I know Dragons have quite a tough draw, but because he plays in the forward and just works hard, And I think it was 2016 and 17 where he had his 2 big years, where he averaged mid-60s. So I just think I don't see him going worse or lower than what he did last year.
Will he play big minutes? Like you being a Dragons man should bit of a no. Would he be pumping out big minutes if he's fit this year?
I think if it was me, I'd like to see him probably play about 70.
Yeah.
Being realistically, probably about 65. I mean, he averaged 62 last year.
Yeah.
So you're probably about 65 to 70. But yeah, next one on the list. I know you guys might not like this one. Might be more of a draft one, but Mo Fodawaker, 521k, 1.4%. I think he's one of the most underrated props in the game. He coming off the bench quite a bit, which has hurt him. He just needs to get more minutes. He averaged 58 minutes a game last season, so even though he came off the bench, he still averaged quite a bit of time. But if you can just push that up to 65 minutes, which I personally think he deserves and can, he'll easily be a front row keeper.
They've got a lot up there. Like there's so many big forwards, game-breaking forwards, whereas not that Mo's not a game-breaking forward, but he's not a Tino. He's not a David Fafita, and even to a lesser extent a Bo Fermor, who loves scoring tries and running good lines. Plus, I think what it is, you've got Jared Wallace, is it up there as well? There's so many good forwards to pick from. Plus that Jalolfi, he deserves minutes. He comes on, does a good job for him. That's my only worry about Mo Fodawaker. Great player, but minutes for their guys up there is the concern. Like that's the only consideration I have for them.
Same with me. That's all. But if he can get 65, he'll easily be a keeper. At front row. Next one on the list, we've only got 3 to go. Jazz Tavanga, 1.5%. He's a jack in the box, priced off a 46 average, getting 45 minutes a game. Do you see him getting more with Tohu out?
No, I don't know. I just can't trust Chaz anymore. I just don't know what the hell's going to happen with him. He's no for me.
He is the man. You know what I mean? Like when push comes to shove, a couple of years ago, interchange player of the year. Can fill holes is his problem. That's why they like to put him on the bench. He can fill any hole. So if you can start with a a decent squad, then you know if someone goes down, Jazz can come in and do the job for you. That's my only thing with Jazz. If he starts on the bench, I can't have him in my side for that money.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, is that it for Jazz? No thoughts on Jazz, Con?
I have my thoughts on Jazz.
You've had your thoughts on Jazz? Wow, I've been paying attention, as you can tell. Moving on. Thank you very much.
Well,
First and foremost,
there's
there's more of those. If you want to find out the rest of them, make sure you head to supercoach360.com. There's the write-up in there from Guy. He goes through, I think, 3 more, he said.
3 more.
So thank you very much to Guy for putting that one together. We've got a bunch more to get through, so we do have to move on, though.
Makes you crook.
Supercoach 360 podcast.